So, Greg, I'm not sure if I need to tell you this, but some of your shirts are kind of crappy. I mean, you know,
What do you mean by crappy? They got like a sweet little pocket right here.
they
That's
could be better. There's a place I know where it has lots of cool stuff.
yeah, but how cool?
We're talking about AAA cool. We're talking about shirts from 86.com. They're a pretty cool site. They sell all types of merchandise, including t-shirts, keychains, and other cool stuff that they sell on their site. And also have awesome video game material as well, such as Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Guilty Gear, Skullgirls, Blaze Blue, Smite, and 86's own brand of t-shirts as well as other stuff. Recently they put out some new keychains for Street Fighter 5. So yeah, there's some awesome stuff there. So I'm just suggesting, next time you go out and buy a shirt of any kind, I suggest check out 86.com. And if you want to support us and them at the same time, please use this link in your web browser to check out 86.com. Put in www.86.com AFF equals 4. Again, www.86.com AFF equals 4. This link will tell them that we sent you and that we're cool with them as long as you're cool with us. Thank you and enjoy the show. So, Greg, hey everybody, give me 1 second here as I do the usual spiel. There we go. Music. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Start Podcast. This may look a little weird to you because I have this thing in front of me. If you're wondering what that is, think it's a wall of like foam that makes audio better. So if I sound better, it's because of this thing. Anyways, with me tonight is none other than, this time with his cam on, the man, the myth, the nerd, Greg Dietz.
I'll have you know I'm a geek. Thank you very much. Speaking of that, as I'm sure everybody knows, the Death Note movie for Netflix had come out very recently. I think actually last week. Tuesday?
I think it was last week, so yeah.
Regardless, it got me inspired to watch the whole anime series again. So of course that's on Netflix. So I've been fucking just zooming through that. I'm like on episode 27 now, and I've only been watching it for like 3 days. But the reason that I've also been watching is because I can't play video games in my room because there's been like 100-degree weather, and my apartment has terrible upstairs ventilation.
Fun.
So it's just sweltering in my room. It's hot right now. It's like 95 outside, and it's just hot. But yeah, I've been watching the anime again, and it was really funny because right after the movie had come out, and Anthony and I kind of touched on this before the podcast started, so that's why I'm bringing it into the podcast. I saw a lot of people on Twitter basically demonizing the film for not being like the anime. And that really frustrates me because I don't feel that that's fair. And I'll explain kind of what I mean by that briefly. When I started, and this goes into how I write reviews. So if you've ever read one of my reviews, video game, movies, whatever, comic book, I write all my reviews in the same format. And it's when I started doing podcasting a long time ago. Friends of the podcast, friends of the website, the Abaya twins. I think their website is now Abaya Arts, but they had a website called Artistic Alliance, and I started podcasting with them on a regular basis. And I was doing the typical, it's not like the comic, thus it sucks. It's not like what I remember, thus it sucks. And that was not fun for anybody listening. I have a lot of friends, and some friends enjoy the original content. Some friends didn't enjoy or didn't even see the original content. But then they saw the adaptation. Both saw the adaptation. And what always struck me as bizarre was that the friends I have are intelligent people. They dissect a film very much like I do. But the friends who had the original content in mind didn't enjoy the adaptation, or the friends who had no relation to it enjoyed the adaptation. And I went, that's weird. That's really bizarre. I need to figure this out. And I had a situation with Harry Potter 4. I went to the theater and saw it with a bunch of friends. And all those friends had read the books. I hadn't. Well, if you've read the books and you've seen Harry Potter 4, you know the differences, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with knowing the differences. But we left the theater and I went, man, that was fun. I enjoyed that film. Everyone else hated it. Suddenly, I felt like the people who listened to the podcast. I felt like those people who would talk to me and I'd say, it sucks because it's not like the source material. And I went, that is a really, really shitty feeling. What it made me feel like was that I was inferior somehow for not having seen the original content. And it also made me inferior. It made me feel inferior to the extent that I was now ostracized from the group. So I started rethinking how I looked at media. I started analyzing myself and not the media. Why do I have such a strong connection to these IPs that I enjoy to basically demonize any adaptation, remake, or reimagination, or reimagining, whatever? And then I read an article that basically explained it. And it's a lot of people who, I'll get to that in a second. Ryan, thank you for joining us. Josh, I'm sorry, Josh. I don't know why I said Ryan. There's Ergazigaz or Ergazigaz, whatever. That's Ryan, and then there's Insobiner, and I read the E. That's all I read was the first letter. I was like, it's this one. Anyway, so yeah, I'll get to Death Note in a second. But when I had the article basically explained that there's a generation of people that became adults right at the turn of the century or right after the turn of the century, and the world at the turn of the century became very dark. 9/11 changed the world. It was much darker. It was much harsher. Reality hit everybody like a ton of bricks. So when the world becomes darker and becomes more depressing, what do a lot of people do? When their world starts to kind of crumble around them, or things become a little bit too tough, people have a tendency to latch on things that make them feel better. Well, our nostalgia, our childhoods, make us feel better. So we latch on to those things with an iron grip. And when those are challenged, even one bit, we feel like it's our identity being challenged, so we get super defensive. I had to let go of that. I had to let go of that defensiveness. How did I let go of that defensiveness? I never forgot that the original source material was still there waiting for me. Just because that movie sucked does not mean I can't go and enjoy this original source material. There's nothing saying that I can't.
So what you're saying is basically anybody who says the movie is bad, in this case Death Note, are people who have messed up minds or who have these attachments to your childhood because they're in a depression state.
The world sucks, Anthony. We know this. When it comes to politics, when it comes to whatever side you're on when it comes to politics, it's stressful and it's depressing. Straight up. The world is a dark, scary place. And the best way for our minds, and this is not just in our generation, every generation's dealt with this same idea. This is why humans have fiction. This is why humans have escapism of some kind. It's just our generation happened to grab onto our childhood, our teen years. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Like I said, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is not recognizing that that's what's happening. Like, don't get me wrong. I hold a strong attachment to a lot of stuff. I'm about to spin my camera in my room, and you're going to go, oh, wow.
And he does it.
The AC/DC thing is my brother's, but and then the bottom shelf has all the toys from when I was a kid. Like I cannot stress enough, I'm in the same boat as you guys. I really, really am. But the difference is that I had to analyze why I was doing what I was doing. And so when I write a video game that's based off of a film, or write a review for a game that's based off of a franchise that's already known, it has a sequel or a remake, I give it a fresh take. Now it's okay to discuss. It's okay to discuss the differences. If I go, hey, Anthony, differences in Death Note. Well, it's Light Turner, not Light Yagami. That's the first one. Ryuk is a bit more demonized in the Western version because Shinigami don't really need to look demonized in Japanese culture. There's differences there, but where I'll say the film fails is first off the guy who plays Light, not that great. But the director tried to do too many nods to the anime, and it just seems weird and off-putting. For example, there's ever no explanation as to why Ryuk eats apples. No explanation. He just does. It's like, well, that just seemed like a throwaway wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Please don't do that. I hate when directors wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There's a few things with L that are like, he's super kind of weird and a little bizarre, and it doesn't work in a Western film. That works better in an anime, especially his mannerisms. I mean, you could still make him eccentric and weird, but make him more Americanized eccentric and weird, you know? I think it would have worked better. There's a few plot points that I feel like weren't fleshed out enough. I feel like the movie's way too short. So the movie's not great. The movie I would put on par with something you'd probably see on Sci-Fi Channel, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
But it got me to want to watch the anime again, and the anime is utterly fantastic. For way more reasons than... I'll put it this way. The film... Actually, let me take that back. If the CW writers wrote a movie for Sci-Fi Channel, that's what the American Death Note is. Or Netflix Death Note. But I also feel, and this is important to keep in mind, I've watched the Japanese movies. And I feel the Japanese movies fall in the same category with the American one, and that's this type of story cannot be told in an hour and a half to 2 hour format. It just cannot be done.
Good point.
It moves too fast. The cat and mouse game doesn't get to flesh itself out well enough. It's like, why would you turn Breaking Bad into a film? Yeah, what I would rather have the director do was take the idea. Yeah. Well, here's what I would like to have seen, and I'm just throwing this out here because, in my opinion, there's two problems with when you make the comparison to something else. So if a new Ninja Turtle movie or game comes out and it's based off of the cartoon, and I go, oh, our mannerisms aren't the same, that's nonsense. And the reason it's nonsense is because that's not constructive. That's you just going, well, I don't like it because it's not like the other thing I enjoy. It does not helping anybody. Maybe your own identity or whatever, but that's about it. The other issue is when you destroy something without giving any constructive ideas, it shows that you're just willing to destroy something without actually putting the context of how you would have done it better. If you truly believe that you could have done it better, then constructive criticism is where you need to go. And I truly believe I could have done better with a Death Note adaptation, because what I would have done is I would have made it in America. It wouldn't have had Light or L. It would have been like Ryuk drops the Death Note because he's bored again, and it's almost a pseudo sequel to the anime.
Exactly. I think that if it was not called Death, well, the whole thing is
it could still be called Death Note.
But yeah, but like have a side story or like kind of have something that's like it's in the universe of Death Note, but not particularly affecting the main storyline that was in anime.
Yeah, it could be Death Note : Seattle or what the hell.
Yeah, whatever.
Here.
Yeah.
The point being is that The point being is that it tried way too hard to be its own thing and to rely on source material. And I feel that that's ultimately where it fails. And when you do judge it as its own thing, like I watched the, I already had these thoughts, so I'm just now regurgitating information. But I watched the Funhouse podcast on it. And they were kind of like, they had made a point to say that like Bruce hadn't seen the anime where everyone else did. And Bruce was just kind of like, oh, that's what it means in the anime? I just thought it was something quirky. I thought it was just a passing thing. After watching it with my folks, they both were just like, oh, that was really intriguing. I'd like to see more. And I was like, okay, so the film works. It really does work. And that's the point that I like to make is like, yeah, it's got flaws like every other film. And I feel like if I had watched it without knowing the source material, I still wouldn't have liked it as much. I would have liked the concept a hell of a lot more than how the film plays out. But I just don't think it's fair to go out of your way to demonize an adaptation, a remake, or a reimagining simply because of your nostalgia. What's one of the sayings I say on this show, Anthony?
Yeah.
Take off your rose-colored nostalgia glasses.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'd love to get more into this, but this falls in line with another podcast we do, or another podcast that's in the works.
It's just something that I've been dealing with the past couple days, and I deal with it every single time that I write I want to stress this enough. When I write my video game reviews, I don't.
I hit my hand on the thing. Sorry, guys. Sorry if people listen to the podcast. You might have heard of a slight bump there.
A thump?
Yeah, a thump.
Well, like, I'll give you... let's bring it back to video games, since that's what this podcast is about. I love this game. I love this game to death, and I love its ending. But when I played Andromeda, do you think I brought any of that feeling into that from this game?
Nope, but the reviews did.
Right. So
and got low scores.
That's and like I didn't write a review on Andromeda because by the time I had finished it, it was like 2 weeks after the game had come out, and I felt like the opportunity to write a review about it had long passed. I hate writing reviews that late, so I just didn't. But the game sucks. Like, it full on, like, Andromeda sucks. And it's disappointing that it sucks.
Yeah.
It doesn't suck because of anything that this franchise set up. It sucks on its own.
Yeah. And it's disappointing. And it's disappointing when I heard the news from that. And at first it was more or less like, this game's not bad. It has bugs, it has issues, but it's not bad. And then eventually, as more people play the game and figured out, like, oh, this game's not good. You know, the person in me is just like, you know, it's like, I really want this game to be good because I love Mass Effect. So.
Yeah, I think Mighty Number 9 has the same stigma of like, oh, it's not Mega Man enough, so it sucks. And it's like, no. A, it doesn't suck, and B, it's pretty mediocre for a video game. IMHO.
Yep. But those are Greg's thoughts on
I do worry about Bloodstained too. I really do worry about Bloodstained because I feel like it's going to be a good game, but people are going to hate it because it's not like Symphony of the Night.
I have more confidence in Bloodstained. What I've seen, it's been good. It's a different art style. I wish it was pixelated, but no, it's 3D. Now, I understand why too. Exactly. I understand why too because money involved to do that.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff, and this conversation went on 20 minutes longer than I wanted it to. So
Yep. Let's get started. All right. So, first thing on the agenda, and let me get this actually set up. Shovel Knight. So this past weekend, or as this stream is happening right now, PAX is happening. PAX West is happening as we speak. The day before PAX started, they had an event for what they call Nindies, which are basically Nintendo's indie developers. They were celebrating the games that were going to be coming out to the Nintendo Switch, which I think was a really cool event. I love the fact they were giving the spotlight to the indie developers and indie games. One of the big things that came out of it was Shovel Knight. A whole lot of Shovel Knight news came out of it. So the latest Shovel Knight game is going to be not only um, all three of the Shovel Knight campaigns, or yeah, that's going to be Plague Knight.
Those are already out, and
Oh, right. I mean, like it's all in one package is what they're doing. So they're going to combine everything, and then King Knight.
Right.
So,
well, they've already done that. So, like, if you buy Treasure Trove right now, you get Shovel of Hope, which is Shovel Knight, Plague of Shadows, which is Plague Knight, and then, oh my God, what is Spectre Knight's campaign called? Spectre Torment.
Spectre Torment, yes. So
and then if you have that on any of the platforms, you will get King of Cards for free.
That is what got me interested a bit more, because one of the things that and it kind of goes back and forth just because I grow in and out of it. Tabletop card trading games I love. I played Magic for a long time. I've been wanting to get back to Hearthstone, and when that was announced, I was like, okay, you're probably gonna have me like addicted to this game more so than before.
When I saw I saw 3 screenshots, and it was the opening shot, him standing next to the actual king who like then beefs up or whatever, and then the card battling thing, and I went, is this just like a card battling system? Like, is that all King Knight is? Because if that's what King Knight is, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
and then like I think an hour later the actual trailer came out, and I was just like, nope, I was wrong. Yeah. It's an actual platformer. Yay.
Yeah. So yeah, they announced that, but on top of that, then you might have seen a little bit in the B-roll. They also announced, and this got me excited, and then I tweeted this up to Greg later on, and I was like, hey, check this out. They are busting out with new Shovel Knight Amiibos.
It's my Shovel Knight Amiibo now that I think about it. Where the hell? Oh, there he is.
Okay, yeah.
There he is.
I got mine right here. Always running ready. But yeah, they're having 3 new Amiibos, which is Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and then King Knight. And they're all going to be the newest ones added to Amiibos. And I have my Shovel Knight, but I want Plague Knight. I don't really care about the other 2. I just want Plague Knight. But that was super sick. I was just like flipping my shit. I was like, oh my god, new
yeah,
Amiibos.
you know I'm buying that. Well, it's really funny. I'm trying to get my Switch in October, and King of Cards comes out first for Switch, and like I think March. Mm-hmm. They didn't really say. They said spring of 2018. But on Twitter, somebody who works at Yacht Club was like, we're pushing for March. So it's kind of like, all right. But yeah, it'll be out on the Switch first, and then probably a month later on the Xbox, PS4, and PC, as it is now.
Yeah. And also to add to this is that this is the last DLC for the game.
Yes.
Which is just to kind of give a broader perspective on the company and the game. They've been supporting this game for a very long time, since it kickstarted way back then.
Yeah, they've said since like, God, I want to say a year after Shovel Knight came out, they made the announcement for the DLC, and they were like, Plague Knight, then a Spectre Knight one, and then a King Knight one, and everyone was just kind of like, oh my god, 3 more campaigns. And then when Plague Knight came out, everyone thought that the Spectre Knight and the King Knight were just going to be basically the same level design, because that's all Plague Knight was. It was just like maybe tiny variations, the smallest smidge of variation. But then they had decided that since both King Knight and Spectre Knight are going to be prequel based, that it's probably better to redesign the levels entirely. So I was like, yay, absolutely. That's what's so brilliant. If you play Shovel Knight, and you're like, that was fun, a little bit tough, yada, yada, yada. You move on with your life. And then you play Plague Knight, and it's tougher. Plague Knight feels like a...
Yeah, that's tough. That was a hard one. I enjoyed it, but that was hard. Especially the boss. The boss at the very end.
Very hard,
Oof.
yeah.
Oof.
But yeah, like it's really, really brilliant. And then Spectre Knight is just a shining achievement of what Yacht Club can do. And then right before, like I want to say, or not, I'm sorry, not right before, right after they announced or released Spectre Knight, they were like, we appreciate everyone enjoying this. Hey, I want you to know we're working on a brand new franchise, entirely new game. Like has nothing to do with Shovel Knight.
That'd be cool.
So I'm at this point I'm a Yacht Club fanboy.
I think you and I are at this point, yeah. And I think there's one other thing. Oh, one last thing, which ties into our next topic actually. Hot off the heels of the announcements for the new game from Suda51, the inclusion, the collab of Yacht Games and Grasshopper was confirmed by Suda as he lifted his shirt to show a Shovel Knight t-shirt underneath. And this is from NintendoEverything.com, written by...
yeah, I have no idea what this is about, and it excites me. Because I love Suda, and I love Yacht Club.
Oh, you haven't seen that? Or you haven't heard about this news? Oh, okay. You can get pretty excited for this then. So this is actually, let me put the B-roll back up just for you to there you go. All right. So, Shovel Knight revealed as the next indie game collaboration for Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes will feature several collaborations with indie games. One of these games will be Shovel Knight, director Suda51 has revealed. The news was just shared during the Nindies at Night stream. Specifics were not shared, however, as talks between Grasshopper manufacturer and Yacht Games appeared to be early on. Suda51 lifted his shirt to show their shirt with Shovel Knight front and center. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes is also collaborating with Hotline Miami. We should be hearing about our partnerships, about their partnerships in the future. One of the things that was also noted, tying into this next topic actually, of Travis Touchdown's return. It's the game. From what I've read, it's Travis Touchdown playing these indie games with its own game, and the reason for it is that he's fighting one of the girls. For I didn't play the No More Heroes games. I'm gonna go back and do that as soon as I can. But from what I've gathered, he fights the old guy in the trailer. He then gets teleported into the screen by some sort of magical container that now they're in the indie game. So one of the things that's pointed out in the trailer was that Hotline Miami was in the background, or was in the background of one of the characters playing the game.
I sincerely hope, beyond my heart of hearts, that these indie devs actually allow Suda and whoever's making that game to put the actual indie games in the game itself. So all of a sudden you're playing Shovel Knight, but it's actually like Travis.
I think that's the idea. I think that is the idea, because from what I've been researching, I believe that is going to be the idea for the new No More Heroes game. Also, I like to point out, Suda51 is back directing this game. He hasn't directed a game in a while, and this is the first one he's done. He's going to come back to. He hasn't done it in a bit, so I love.
That's great.
I know I love everything Suda51 does, and I am super excited as far as like what's this going to be. I will definitely probably go back and I'll go play No More Heroes because I have a Wii U, so I should be able to just buy the game and play it. But I'm super excited. A lot of news from Shovel Knight, and yeah, I'm super excited for when it comes out for sure. We'll probably have more say when it comes out. But yeah. All right, give me a second.
I gotta admit, like it seemed like the internet forgot about Travis being announced at that Switch conference like last year.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, in January.
Well,
I would say last year because my year like turns over when I get back from North Carolina.
Right.
But yeah, like it seemed like everyone had kind of forgot on the internet, and so like I messaged you on Twitter, and I was like, "You remembered that, right?" And you're like, "Kind of forgot about it."
So here's the thing about that. Like when it was announced at the Nintendo press conference, and I think it was this year, I believe. Was it this year or last year?
It was this year. It was January.
Okay.
The only reason I know it was January is because it was after MagFest, and it was like the day before my flight left, which was like the middle of January.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I was like when Suda51 when Suda went up there and basically saying like, yeah, we would like to have Travis Touchdown in a Switch game. That'd be cool. Didn't really say anything that they were making a game. And usually when these announcements happen, they're like just teasers or whatever. Like, you know, you expect the game to not be done or close to finishing for another 3 or 4 years. Usually. The fact that we've already have a trailer and what exactly it is in the same year as them saying it, meaning it means the fact that they've been making this game a lot earlier than I expected. So I totally forgot about it. I totally forgot about it because I was, you know, busy doing other things. But when I saw that reveal of like Travis Touchdown coming back, I was like, oh my god, it's back.
So you haven't played No More Heroes 1 or 2, have you?
No, I know I should. I have a Wii U now, so I can actually do that. I know of the game. I know I've seen gameplay and I've seen, you know, exactly what it looks like and the quirkiness it has.
That's what I say. Like, that's what I enjoyed more about the game was the Suda51-ness about it, because I did not like the gameplay at all.
Okay, I remember hearing like when it came out, like even especially I think it was like way back in X-Play.
That's not fair. That's not fair to say. The gameplay isn't bad. It's nunchucking this hand with the joystick and you do this. The swing is like sword thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. my issue came from in order to, like, I'm just gonna spoil something for you. In the first game, in order to get from, like, because you have to take out I think 12 assassins, something like that. In order to get from one assassin to the other, you have to gain cash in order to get to them, because you have to pay another company or whatever. And so you have to then do like chores. You have to go mow lawns and do little tasks here and there, and they're very boring and very mundane. And I was like, this kind of sucks. I haven't played No More Heroes 2 though, so
yeah.
I didn't play No More Heroes 2 because I didn't like the stuff in No More Heroes 1, but I hear that No More Heroes 2 does it better.
Yeah, it does. It does. So yeah, kind of hopping onto that, and let me get that actually B-roll for that. So yeah, Grasshopper Games, Suda51 announced that there indeed was a new game for Travis Touchdown to be in. Which I did not notice. This actually is not a No More Heroes game. It's actually it stars Travis Touchdown, but it is its own thing. In a recent interview by GameInformer.com, labeled Suda51 talks No More Heroes and apologizing to the interpreter from the Switch review. I guess there apparently was some sort of details that they messed up on. This is written by Brian Shea, and I'll just go down to the first paragraph, the first question. What was the reason behind having the game introduced without the No More Heroes name? For the Switch event, I spoke a lot with Nintendo beforehand and worked out how we should announce it and what exactly I wanted to announce. So I decided that first, we didn't want to say this is a No More Heroes game. We wanted to put the spotlight on the fact that Travis is coming back. This is Travis' game. Just think about that for now. As far as the actual title of the game and how it relates to the No More Heroes series, I wanted to wait for a bigger chance. For example, the Nindy Spotlight video to properly announce what exactly the game is going to be and the exact title and everything. So this is not a No More Heroes game. This is a game to, as Suda put it, reintroduce Travis to the world, who, you know, for a lot of people, you know, they probably forgotten or not played the previous number of games.
Yeah, that's actually brilliant. We actually had this conversation not too long ago about how I think like Shenmue and what was that other franchise coming back after years of being away? Dang it. But we've talked about that, how like they should not make it a sequel. It should be its own thing, like, but just introducing the characters again, but it's like a sequel for the people who enjoyed the sequel. Basically, everybody can enjoy it regardless of where you come from.
Yeah. So
that's brilliant. If Suda's doing that, it's brilliant.
Yeah. Because like it makes total sense. The funny thing about that is I look at the trailer, like No More Heroes is actually at the very end of the trailer, so it is tying to that. But there's no mention of it being a third title.
Sure.
So it is a No More Heroes game, but it's not a sequel to No More Heroes 2. So as he puts it, he is reintroducing Travis to the role, which is a great idea, because if he announced that it was a No More Heroes sequel to 2, people who have not played the game, or it's been years since people have played it, may not remember what exactly happened last time, or may not have even known there was maybe a part those games existing. So this is a good move by Suda. So as we said prior before, the collaboration with other indies to put their games into this game, I think it's going to be fun. I think from the sounds of everything I've heard, it sounds like it's going to be a blast to play. So if anyone be listening, please send me a copy.
You nerd.
But no, I think it's freaking great. Actually, I want to read the entire article when I can. But I'll put the link in the chat for you guys to check out. Really good interview, guys. You really check out. But yeah, I'm super excited. I cannot wait to see what this when an exact date for this. If they even have a trailer for this already, I want to say it's going to be out either next year or in 2019. That's what I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, Suda's very good at knowing what his games are about and what and I don't mean that in the regards of he does not take his stuff too seriously.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
And so even in that trailer you just showed, they're getting into a fight in his cabin, and the trailer, and it starts doing cartoony de-warping, bop 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 bop, that's awesome. Yeah. And I don't think for a second that it's not going to be a silly, campy, cartoony game, and that's what it needs to be. Exactly.
So I'm super excited for that. So, all right, moving on to our next topic. This is the 30th anniversary. Don't let the video fool you. I just had to find some old Street Fighter footage. This is the 30th anniversary of Street Fighter 2. A game's been around for a very long time. Recently, and as we shared this on our Facebook feed, is that Capcom's collaborating, or they gave the nod to a company called I Am 8-Bit, and they're making these limited edition cartridges, classic SNES cartridges of Street Fighter 2, completed with the original the original booklet, the art style on the cover, and a bunch of other cool things with it. What has been getting a lot of people's attention is two things. One, the cartridge itself, while it looks cool, there's been some confusing messaging as far as what the website is saying, as far as it's playable or is it not? Because one of the warnings they gave out is forewarning, if you played this on an actual SNES, this may catch on fire or will overheat and burn out your console. So, and the thing,
that's amazing.
And the thing is, though, is I Am 8-Bit seems to be the ones to be saying we state this be careful about this. But on its website, on its site, actually, do I have let me see. They might actually have the thing on. Hang on. I don't. I forgot to load it up. Anyways, but basically, what happened is that on their site there is examples of the cartridge actually in an SNES console. On top of that, it also describes the fact that it is a playable game. It has different colors for some of the other characters that you can get in the game. So there was a lot of mixed messaging, and I'll just read this article that was written by Eurogamer.net. Capcom re-releasing Street Fighter 2 on an SNES cart without one hell of a safety warning. This is written by Weasley Yin Pool. To celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Street Fighter series, Capcom is re-releasing Street Fighter 2 on an actual SNES cart. The only problem is it could cause your SNES to catch fire. In one of the more striking video game safety warnings we've seen, retailer I Am 8-Bit said the brand new playable SNES cartridge, quote, may cause the SNES console to overheat or catch fire. The SNES hardware is deemed a vintage collectible, so please exercise extreme caution when using the product and make sure there is a fire extinguisher equipment nearby. The warning continues in somewhat. I know, right? The warning continues in somewhat terrifying fashion. Use this product at a sole risk of the user, is one of the quotes. And I'll link it here. It's basically what they're saying is that they're saying that this is a collectible. This is not meant to be played, but at the same time, their website tells otherwise, that it is a playable thing. So one of the two parties messed up. My guess is I am 8-bit, because I think it could be actually both.
It sounds like it can be played, but it probably will play really well with no issues on like a RetroCon or whatever the hell that thing was called. And the reason I say this is because the SNES wasn't designed to be able to play like higher res-ish games. Like, like our technology's gotten to the point where you can have a stick this big that holds like 2 terabytes. But the classic SNES, like that system itself, probably can't handle that. So
yeah,
Retron.
Yeah, the other thing I will point out too is like this is going to be going for $100. It's a limited edition for 5,500 copies. And other things that comes with the SNES cartridge is a trifold box with foil, glass, and embossments. Premium instruction booklet, recreated or cleaned up and recreated, so it's like like brand new. Retro packing surprises, package design and restoration by Django Show Art and Design, and manufacturing by Restaurant Games. And I feel like, this is, treat this as a collectible. People who are thinking about getting this, please, advise, be careful with this. Do not play this.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, there are so many ways you can play Street Fighter 2. Like,
classic Street Fighter 2 as well.
So $100. For $100 for Street Fighter 2, which you can get that anywhere really. Your phone can play Street Fighter 2, honestly, if you try hard enough. Interesting story.
It just sounds it sounds like the cart itself is higher quality than the SNES can handle. That's all it is.
Which is weird. Also, like, there's a new SNES cartridge that was made in 2017. Just think about that for a second.
All right then.
Okay, so going on into our next, or actually, hang on, let me strike this one out. We talked about that. All right, so moving on to our next story. Yes, Destiny 2. I got some stuff about Destiny 2. So what you see on screen is going to be an area. Apparently, this video was leaked. This was a new area in Destiny 2 we have not seen, and it was going to be in the game. And one of my suspicions, and one of the things I've said, like especially during my time on stream with the beta, is I wonder how much content are they going to put into the game. And I wonder, like, are they going to live up to their promise? Because everything that they've shown so far has been good, but I really want to see that fruition come out. Well, lo and behold, this leak that was leaked out by a German IGN outlet. So this was leaked out, and it was all the commentary was all the commentary was all in German, but I did get some translation thanks to our games in the thread. This is from Mr. M. Merquirk, something along those lines. But basically he says, things I picked up from the video. He mentions that the map seems much bigger than the patrol zones from Destiny 1. He mentions the underground cave area he's in at the start isn't shown on the map. On the map you can pull up, indicating that the maps might have a lot of hidden stuff. The zones feel much more action-packed than Destiny 1. Feels like there is always something going on. The NPCs in each zone have different things you can purchase from them as your standing increases by turning in planet-specific tokens, especially rep grinds. Adventures are story-driven, almost feels like an open-world mini-strike. They have multiple objectives that are complete and provide more story about the location along the way. They don't feel like a fetch quest, like a lot of stuff in Destiny 1 did. He said he was a bit skeptical, but left with an overall positive impression. Lots of changes make the game feel better in Destiny 1. And last but not least, it sounds like he may have played the full game, ? He mentions that he was concerned that Destiny 2 will be like Destiny 1 at launch, but it feels like a complete product. He also mentions the story being very long. So, with that being said, my suspicions has been better for what I had initially thought, and it sounds like Bungie is actually living up to what they're saying, and it's yes, this is what I want from Destiny 1. So
yeah. That's like, that was my biggest problem, was that Destiny 1 had a lot of content. By the way, Mighty Sandwich points out that the European Dead Zone, which is the EDZ, like the second that the embargo lifted, like everyone posted their EDZ footage, and a lot of it had to do with what you just described from the German thing.
Okay.
But the weird thing is that this one is from Essos. Right? Is that how you pronounce it? Essos? Nessus.
Yeah.
Nessus? Whatever. We'll get there. But yeah, the mission count is much bigger. From what I've heard, there are 10 storylines. So 10, like, not 10 missions, but like 10 parts of a full story.
Nice.
And each mission takes like roughly an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. But that being said, I think it's great that people are actually seeing this. When Destiny 1 came out and we did that podcast a long time ago, we discussed how the gameplay isn't bad. It's just the problem is that there's not enough to do in it, and it got super repetitive super quick.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, one of the things in this that makes me so excited is, like, obviously I'm going to beat the game first, level up, grind the hell out of everything. And then one day I'm just going to go, hey guys, I know where all the cave entrances are on ADZ. You want to go hit some caves? Mm-hmm. And then we're going to pull up a map on my computer, because I'm not going to sit there and discover them. Like, that's not for me. The fact that those exist, though, top-notch quality work.
Yes.
But I was going to ask you, did you see... sorry, I just saw that Mighty Sandwich commented again. By the way, guys, if you are listening to this podcast, we record this every Sunday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So when we read things from the chat, that's where we're reading it from. But Mighty Sandwich says, a lot of the community is upset that so much is being revealed with the launch so close. Well, we'll actually touch on that in a minute, because I think when we get down to Anthony's thoughts on the beta, we'll definitely touch on that. But yeah, I agree with that. But I think Bungie and Activision know that they have a lot of people to convince that it won't be. Yes, and that is actually, so that's the kind of the point I was making about that podcast we did, was it was scathing. Like, we did not enjoy Destiny 1. One of the biggest complaints that we had was there wasn't any lore within the game at all. Like, a little bit on like text, like visual stuff, but nothing that we love reading comments, don't worry about that, Sandwich.
Yeah.
But Luke Smith, I think one of the head guys at Bungie right now working on Destiny 2, he did an
interview.
Not an interview.
No.
It was like, it's a thing. It was a thing for Wired. It was a 20-minute video.
Oh, okay.
And
I was no, it was funny because like he also did an interview with like live at PAX this past weekend. Like, he was the kind of the opener, and he had a straight on just interview with one of the heads of Penny Arcade, and he just asked him questions about lots of things about Destiny 2 and just his past.
I'll have to see that.
It's really good.
What this one is like, Jeff Kaplan's done one too. A bunch of other people have done one, but what Wired does, they basically get people.
I think I've seen it. Yeah.
What's that?
No, I think I've seen it. But go ahead. Go on.
Yeah, it's just him answering Twitter questions.
Yeah.
And my favorite part was he kept knocking over the pop figure of Ikora. And
Yeah.
he was trying to stand her up, but she wouldn't stand up. And he's like, look, if I don't get her to stand up, I'm going to get a bunch of tweets saying that I don't care about Ikora.
Yeah.
But no, he kind of explains a lot of really neat stuff. A lot of stuff that they kind of already showed. But he's like, he wanted to reassure in that video, and maybe he does it in the Penny Arcade interview as well. But he kind of reassures that like what they've shown barely scratches the surface.
That's great. That's awesome.
And so I'm like that excites me so much.
Exactly. This is, again, we go back to this, but in that podcast we had a long time ago, we had different opinions, a lot of different opinions, and me and Gray came away with saying that, you know, there wasn't enough content there. Like the mechanics of the game are great. Bungie's always good at gun mechanics, but the art is fantastic. I love the art. Like I had no qualms about it. But when it came to the content itself in Destiny 1, me and Gray agreed that there wasn't enough there. And this was not just us. There were a lot of other people saying the same thing. So seeing the fact that this was leaked, whether it was on purpose or not, the fact that this footage was out there for people to see, this excites me. Because, again, it validates my hope, the fact that it's going to be a much bigger game, that Bungie's going to actually come through and put out more content than the first one.
Well, we've also discussed that the Taken King DLC was a definitely show of face that Bungie wants to make the game better. They want to give us the best experience they possibly can. And We've already discussed that year one's BSness was Activision trying to make extra cash.
Yeah, that's true.
When in reality, I mean, there's much easier and better ways to make that money to sustain a lifelong or like a long-lasting game without just releasing everything as extra content later. And it seems like with Destiny 2, everything that I've seen and heard and read, I'm like, I'm going to spend upwards like to 200 hours in this game just on the PvE stuff.
Yeah. Like I'll save the rest of my thoughts on it for later on, because we do have a segment of my thoughts on the beta. But there's definitely things I like. The Bungie is again pushing the right buttons for me. I cannot wait. So
yeah, I'm very excited.
More about this in a bit. So moving on to our next topic, which I looked into a bit. Actually, hang on, this is topic 5. Give me a second here. Oh wait, does this have to? Oh yeah, okay, I got it this way. All right, so give me a second here. I have to readjust a few things. I'm gonna say goodbye to the chat room for a second.
No, I can still see it. It's fine. I still got you guys.
Okay. So this was reported on. This was okay. So somebody in the wild, somebody in NeoGAF land, did some digging, because remember the I won't say the fiasco, but remember the method as far as like how you would talk in Splatoon 2, like how exactly you would have to configure that to your phone to make that work. And we've argued that, you know, you can use other ways to do that to much easier time. And even like
it's actually funny because speaking on that, my buddy and another friend of mine have Splatoon 2 primarily, and they actually use Xbox communication. They hop into a chat room.
It's hilarious. What was I gonna say? But yeah, like, you know, that was a big talking point, and you know, I dug into it a bit more, and so what I found out is that apparently, Nintendo does not know how to exactly decode audio talking into their games. If you think about it, not only this, but remember when they tried to put a webcam with their Nintendo Wii back then, and like the only way you can talk to it is if you turned it on, but you could hear everybody.
I never thought it was that they didn't know how. I always thought it was they didn't want to.
Well, after you hear about this,
all right, okay, all right.
You may have changed your mind. So I'm just going to read out verbatim on what this post was from Peter Cobra. Splatoon 2 over LAN has built-in voice chat. Searched but didn't find. Oh, hang on. Oops, let me do this real quick. There we go. Okay. Searched but didn't find anything. So this isn't it isn't about normal local wireless play. It is the one where you are all connected to the same router and you press a button combination. It uses a router and a LAN configuration. There's much more stable than just wirelessly interconnected switches, which is why we did it last week for our Splatoon game in a pub. One of us had a microphone in his headphones, and the second we switched into a LAN lobby, we heard that he was saying very loudly in our speakers. It was quite a shock, really. This means they implemented seamless voice chat, no app required, but allowed using it if only for LAN play. Not even if normal local wireless works, what the fuck. Which, frankly, is probably the least useful scenario for voice chat, since you're probably all in the room anyways. And in the edit, hopefully someone is going to double check this, and maybe even properly test it before I get to try again. But if you are, and here's some tips on the LAN lobby. Go to local LAN multiplayer lobby. Press and hold the combination of buttons left R plus left stick for a few seconds, and the game fades out of lobby. It then fades back into the same lobby, but in a LAN setup. Obviously, you need to be in the same local network, which means all you're connected to the same router. Which then I looked up. Apparently, this is how you do it in the game, as you see on the screen. Nintendo has its own website or on the page of how to connect to a LAN to LAN play. Also, I like to mention the fact that nothing on this page has nothing about voice chat. And then I looked at, I went detective on this. I dig this into the more to see what anybody else has said. And there was a video by IGN that was that they talked about this. Let me switch back to me. So there was a video on IGN. They talked about this, and apparently there is a voice chat, and they did test it. And the only way to do it is through LAN. The problem is, while it is loud, you can actually hear people, it doesn't sound great. It's like you're kind of underwater in a way. It seems like Nintendo... It's weird, because it seems like Nintendo was trying to put it in, or the other thing, because it was in the Nintendo commercial for the Switch. Remember that scene where there was where it's like two teams fighting each other in an arena, esports, in kind of an esports scene? I'm not gonna say that they did it specifically for esports, but one can lead to believe that it might have been put in there for the possibility. They've been more open about opening their games for esports since the whole Smash incident at EVO years ago. So maybe they put it in for that, or maybe it was something that they were trying to figure out with the audio, or they just couldn't figure it out. But it's weird.
It's super weird.
It's weird the fact it's only in LAN play. So it's weird. And obviously there's responses in NeoGAF for like everybody's mad at the fact that what the hell, why we got to do this, this other mundane shit to get this to work, right? And here it is in LAN play, like it's built into the game, it's coded into the game. So it's a weird situation, because I feel like Nintendo was experimenting and might have, I don't know, forgotten that it was in there, or it was intentionally left in there for a specific reason. But then if that was the case, why would you put out a product to tell other people you wanted to do it this way? And even that way with the phone, like with the mobile app, it's not that great either. So it's weird.
I couldn't even begin to understand the reasoning behind that on Nintendo's part. The only thing I could even remotely come up with is that they just straight up tried and it didn't work, and they just couldn't figure it out, and they were like, we don't need it. Like it didn't have it in the other system, so what does it matter? We'll just use the same excuse, and they just went with it. So
yeah, I mean, I'll put this back in the chat, and I can see you guys
now
again.
Maybe not gone with it. Maybe that's wrong. It's more that they went with the phone app instead. They were like, well, this is easier.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
It could be, and Jason puts it in there. It's like it could be the fact that they couldn't find a decent encoder, or a decent encoder to make it work. Which may be the case, and because we're talking about Switch, and they're using an entirely different OS. So we're not sure exactly if the codecs that they are using for the system may be completely customized for the system, or maybe completely different, to where if they try to do something like this, it may be much more of a hassle than it should be. Because if we're going to compare this to Microsoft and Sony, Microsoft's Xbox One is straight up a PC. It's just straight up a PC, and that's why a lot of codecs work on that system. More or less kind of same with PS4. Not, I don't want to use the same as, as a PC, but it's in the same, it's the same area. I'm going to use Microsoft because that's kind of what their system is. But yeah, it may be the fact because Nintendo Switch is so different. It could be the fact that because they have custom software that this may not even work with some other codec. Maybe they have to make a custom codec to make it work if they want to try to attempt it. So it's weird the fact that it's in the game. It's in, you can access it, but it's not. It's loud. You can hear people, but it's not that great of an audio quality. So I don't think Nintendo. And here's the thing too. Going back, Nintendo never addressed this in their setup and land. They never said that there is an actual voice chat in it. So yeah, and Nintendo. We keep saying it again. Like, they're an enigma. We cannot figure out why exactly they make these decisions, but they do. And it continues to confound and confuse us every time. So
every time.
Yeah, I don't.
It's not just us. Like, people in general are just like, why?
Yeah.
Why? ¿Por qué?
Yeah. What I will say though is, like, I think that there's going to be some justified anger in this, only for the fact that Nintendo has said one thing to tell people to do with their phones and with their mobile to connect, and then find out later that it was something implemented into their game, into the hardware as well. So
I do feel in that category. Like, I don't think there's any reason to get upset, because let's be honest. First off, why are you using voice chat in a LAN party?
Esports, but that's may or may never happen. Whatever, but go on.
Okay, even in that regard, like, from what I understand, esports people aren't using the in-game voice chat for League of Legends or Rocket League, so.
I mean, you're comparing kind of. Well, no.
I'm not comparing apples to oranges, because it's all esports. The point I'm getting at is, like, why would an esports team need to use the in-game voice chat on any esports game?
I can answer that. Because in some games there are teams that you need constant communication. I get that that's.
I'm not saying no, Anthony. I'm not saying using chat to communicate with your teammates. I'm saying using the in-game engine voice chat. Because 9 times out of 10,
that's true.
It won't be that great, or there's other programs.
Yeah. Well.
Like Discord.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: that if indeed it becomes much more of an I doubt it will, but anything's an esports these days. If it does become something of an esports thing, I think that having it in game is actually crucial, in a sense of, like, when you're in a let's just say, in the future this game is super popular, it's an esports, we're in an arena, people are playing on stage. If they're not encased in some sort of glass container like at the Dota International, you are hearing not only the game sounds, but you're also hearing every bit of crowd around you. And while the constant communication, when they may be close to one another, it may be hard to hear one player from one side trying to talk to the player on the other side. But this is, theoretically, if that's the case.
But that's I'm not even talking about that. Like, I know for a fact that a lot of Overwatch players use TeamSpeak because it's secured lines. Like, nobody can just drop in and overhear conversation, where that's a possibility with in-game voice chat.
Right. Yeah, if we're talking specifically just, like, casually, then yeah, you can do whatever. You can do whatnot. I'm just
pointing out. I feel like that esports Splatoon players are going to use Discord or TeamSpeak or something to that regard. Like, it just seems like the obvious choice in that category. Or they're going to use some local LAN. They could still use TeamSpeak for local LAN, for crying out loud. For crying out loud, Anthony.
Well, I'll stop there. But I have different opinions on that. But it's for now, the fact that it's built in is just kind of interesting, and maybe it was something that we're trying out. Or
I think this is more important for casual. I think this is way more important for casual, because I think it's very important that you have a system set up that allows people to just drop in, play the game, and drop out. Yeah, Messenger. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Jason. But no, I think, for me, when we're talking about like the casual aspect of a competitive game, I would hate it that I would have to play Overwatch with like a different setup or different like communication system. It would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that, but I mean, even in that regard, I'm using Xbox group chat, not the in-game TeamSpeak.
Yep. And then eventually, when it comes out, we'll use Discord. Well, video, that is.
I'm just pointing out that, like, I just don't know people who use in-game voice chats to begin with.
Well, some do. I know people do. But like,
I know people do, but it's just not that common, man. It's really not.
I feel the opposite, but I'll say that for another day. Moving on to our next topic. This one, speaking on Nintendo. Oh, I should. Hang on, I gotta set this up again. Sorry, chat. You're blind to me now. Not in a bad way.
I can still see you.
I'm not trying to insult you guys. So this is something I saw that was caught my eye. But some more Nintendo Switch news. This is off of IGN.com, written by Jonathan Dornbush. Nintendo Switch games may require memory cards to experience all content. While revealing a new partnership with the SD card maker SanDisk, Nintendo has also revealed that moving forward, some Nintendo Switch games will require a micro SD card in order to experience the full content of certain upcoming games. In an announcement, Nintendo noted that the micro SD card will be needed for certain Nintendo Switch games that contain an especially large amount of content and require additional storage for players to enjoy the full experience. At least one upcoming release, NBA 2K18, will be such a game requiring a micro SD card in the system, as evidenced by the game's updated box art, which is up in the top. NBA 2K, okay, so Nintendo is making sure not to blindside players who purchase games that need extra storage, though a representative of Nintendo of America confirmed that box art will like that for the NBA above. Words are hard. We will have notices of this memory card requirement on the front and back of packaging, and for those downloading on the eShop, there will be a standard information noting how large the game is. You know, put the link for the rest of the article for you guys to check out. So, hey chat, it's yourself. All right, there we go. Now I can see you guys again. So. It's interesting the fact that like the Switch is kind of going backwards as far as like how some functions of the Switch works. Was this a case for the Wii U where you had to buy SD cards to get more memory out of it?
Yeah, I think it has it's super small memory and people have to buy SD cards, I want to say. Or like SD micro cards. I don't remember. Sorry, micro SD. I said that backwards.
Yeah. So, I think the wording is a little confused. I think the wording in that article is a little confusing because if it's going to be a case where, well, no, they said micro SD cards. So I kind of wonder if that's going to be a case where Nintendo's going to sell branded memory cards for the Switch, or are they going to leave it open for people to buy SD cards of the brand and then just plug it into the Switch? Because SD cards nowadays are pretty cheap. You can get like a 128 gigabyte for like $50, or even go higher than that as well. It's just I was thinking about it because it makes sense because the Switch only have so much space in it, and I'm not quite sure what type of hardware they're using inside. I'm pretty sure that somebody has broken down out there, but I'm kind of wondering like. The software and the hardware they're using for the Switch, whatever space they gave it initially, will run out fast because most games are going to be bigger. Most games are getting bigger every day, every year, and it's gonna take a lot of space eventually, as far as with some of these games. So
yeah, I mean this is Nintendo's MO. They've done that since their systems could have memory. When the GameCube came out, by the time the GameCube came out, systems had internal memory. It was like, what? Why are you doing this? This doesn't make any sense. This goes against everything.
Really? I thought there was like more welcome the fact that there's internal memory in a console than have to buy like 4 or 5 memory cards to keep.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is at the time the GameCube had come out, other systems had internal memory.
Oh, gotcha.
So it was like Nintendo, what are you doing?
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Because I remember having like 4 or 5 memory cards for my GameCube. But then again, I do remember having memory cards for my original Xbox 360. The very, very original Xbox 360 had memory cards. People forget about that.
Yeah.
And you had to actually buy a memory expansion you popped up on the top. I think I actually have the memory card in this drawer. If I can find it.
Yeah,
I don't. It's not in here. I lied.
I still have mine, actually. I still have, my brother left a lot of memory cards under his bed, which I recently found. I was like, oh, hey, where were these I needed when I played PS2 games? It's
like the Wii had issues, the Wii U's had issues with memory. Like, I can't say that I'm shocked. It's like Iago says, like, I might die from not surprise. That being said, expansion memory cards are pretty damn cheap.
Yes, I think that. Yeah, I think the one thing I would like to see is if they're gonna sell them, please cheap price. You know, you already have expensive ass controllers and other things associated with the Switch right now. We don't need to have memory cards to be expensive as well.
Well, just don't buy a Nintendo brand. I want to say.
I mean,
because I don't think that the memory card that you would have to buy for Switch wouldn't be something. Because I believe for the Wii, you could buy any SD card you wanted.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, my Wii had like a 30 gigabyte card in it, I want to say.
Yeah. And like,
32 gigabyte?
It was the same case for the Wii U. You can plug in an SD card and you're good to go. So, I'm not quite sure it's the same thing for... no, actually, it's not. Probably not. Is it? No, I don't think it is the same thing
I feel like the Switch has a micro SD card slot. Let me look that up. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, Google. Does the Switch have a memory card slot?
And as he's getting the answer, Jason...
It has a micro SD card slot.
Okay. Jason in the chat just said, like, yep, any card. So, okay. So then that kind of begs the question as far as, like, is Nintendo doing this to... I don't know. Like, what is it for people who don't know how to use an SD card? I don't know. If that is the case, then, you know, buy a cheap SD card and plug it in and you're good to go. So I wonder if it's like a branded memory card that they want to sell then to users to use for the Switch?
Probably do. They probably do, but that's now an option. You don't have to go, towards that route. Like, people have a tendency to look at something, see the size of it, and go, "Why is it so expensive?" And a memory card is literally just memory. Like, there's nothing else in it. But the controllers are so expensive because of the technology that's in them. It has like a motion sensor. It has like the 3D vibration.
Yeah, it has a lot of things going in that.
A lot of tech in it. Like, those controllers are stupid, ridiculously high tech, which is crazy to say considering that the system itself doesn't seem that high tech, like the actual tablet piece.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's Nintendo. They're, again, an enigma wrapped in a riddle.
Yeah. And there's a good point that Jason puts out in the chat. It's like, well, any card will work, but they have different speed ratings, so they may affect play quality. So, buyer beware.
Interesting. Okay, didn't know that. Thank you, Jason, for that info, because that actually changes a lot. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to do some research. That kind of sucks. That definitely seems like Nintendo's going to have their hand in, like, picking and choosing which cards will work better. That's,
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's disappointing to hear. Oh, well.
Yeah. But we move on to our next topic, which my thoughts on the Destiny 2 beta. I actually been working on a small video. It should be up by tomorrow. But it's my thoughts on the beta and everything, but just kind of give you guys just a general overview of my thoughts. I think that this was before I saw the leaked footage that was put out there for Destiny 2. But prior to that, My thoughts on the beta was that I think the story they put, again, I had this conversation. I'm trying to get a better, I won't say grasp, but like a better, I'm trying to be more attentive to the story for Destiny 2. I'm trying, because like in Destiny 1, the story was pretty awful. Like there was no story to begin with. I mean, there was one, but it wasn't that great. And I'm trying to give it much more of an effort this time around for Destiny 2, because I feel that Bungie is making much more of an effort with these cutscenes, building more lore into their story this time around for Destiny 2. So while it was a beta, and obviously they're not gonna show the entire story, the small snippet that did show didn't really grab me, and I'm hoping that would change when I play the PC version, or maybe if I watch somebody stream it like for the first 2-3 hours, and maybe then I'll have a better idea or a better grasp on the story to maybe pull me in. I'm waiting on as far as like how that will go. Outside of that, gameplay was fine. No arguments there. Art, good. I had no arguments with the art style in Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. It's pretty much the same thing.
Anthony, you need to start doing one word reviews, like gameplay good, art good.
Well, I don't want to drag for too long, as that's the reason why.
Story, okay.
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
Shooty parts, good.
multiplayer parts, competitive and casual, they were both fine. One was Counter-Strike, one was just a control point. It was fine, and not something I'm really looking into much, because I'm not really there for the competitive side. I'm there for more the strikes and the player versus environment type of arenas and whatnot. The strike was good. I liked it. It was fun. Just like in Destiny 1 when I did play strike, it was a lot of fun. I'm a little concerned the fact that if there are other players that are higher ranking than me, like say I'm level 20 and the other players I'm grouped with for like a level 40 or 50, it becomes a case where they would mow down everything in front of me, and then I would just be picking up the pieces and then shooting pot shots to other enemies, kind of making it into like basically I'm not really contributing anything to the cause. And one other thing I would say is that I really enjoyed the farm. They had this area open for 2 hours for people to check out. It was a new hub for people who wanted to trade, get their quests. They can roam around this area called the farm, which is basically like in this grassy land kind of a farm area, as it's titled. It was really cool. It was very atmospheric. And it was, you couldn't do anything in there. You could play soccer. It had a soccer ball at one part of the map area, which you can play with other people, and you can actually score goals. And it was actually really fun. But it was really cool. I liked it, and there's a lot of promise. And now the fact that that leaked footage of that one area was leaked for Destiny 2, it kind of reassures me the fact that Bungie's listened a lot of the feedback, and they're definitely addressing those concerns in Destiny 2. So again, a little small snippet of my thoughts, but I'll have more about it in the video when it goes up tomorrow. So,
did you play any of the console beta, Anthony?
I did not. Was there anything different in the console beta?
So Mighty Sandwich wanted to point out some differences right away. He said the map for control was different.
Oh.
Power ammo drops were more abundant and predictable. Ability cooldowns were improved, which I remember that was a complaint that I had heard. The strike boss had less health, and there were a lot of fixed bugs. That's fantastic to hear, because that means that they're working on it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. It kind of sucks that I don't get to experience that, but it is nice to see that it's all the same game, and they're definitely working on making things a bit different depending on like release and beta and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great.
The other thing I have to mention, and this is kind of obvious, that the stream I had didn't quite indicate that, only because like the only way to capture the game was through display capture. The quality of the game just graphically, it was great. The frames were slick, 60 frames per second. It was solid, rock solid when it came to that front. So, yes.
That's great.
So, yes, my sandwich, how did you like the uncapped frame rate on PC? It was fantastic. Or in the words of Broken Matt Hardy, it was wonderful. That's for those
Wonderful.
That's for those wrestling fans out there. But yeah, no, it was great. I enjoyed what I've seen, and again, like I think that everything building up to this release, I think Bungie finally got it right. It took them a second time around, but you know, it's I think it's.
Hey, when your hands are tied by your sure, you kind of have to do what you can. Whoa, hey there, Connect. Don't zoom in when I lean back. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted by my Connect trying to zoom in on me.
Right.
I can't iterate enough how excited I am for this game. I'll be streaming it on my own personal channel Tuesday night when it goes live. Probably around between 9 and 9:30 on my own channel.
Okay.
So twitch.tv/chubrockgeek. And I'll definitely be playing it on Half Empty Energy Tank.
Yeah, for sure.
When I stream on Saturday. I don't think I'll be doing a whole lot of the multiplayer. Just because A, I was terrible at it in the beta. And B, I'm not super into the multiplayer. Like, I really love the PvE stuff, so.
Same here.
Sorry, I'm reading what Mighty Sandwich says. So some players are raising a fuss over aim assist being available to pad players on PC.
Yeah,
yeah, that sounds like a problem.
Yeah, so I did not try it on pad. I was thinking about it. But then it kind of came down to, if I did that, I'll have to adjust as far as like how that would work out on top of the sensitivity on the pad. Would have to change dramatically to make it work. But maybe it's the fact that I've been playing games for a long time, and especially for some PC games, for first-person shooters, you just are more active with a mouse and keyboard, just because you have a more sense of direction when it comes to where your hand is, as far as like where exactly you're aiming at. So I didn't try it. I thought about it, but I didn't try it. So with that being said, I know it's hot in here too. Actually, I did not turn the fan on because I don't want to have background noise. All right, so give me a second here as I set this up. Give me a second here.
This next segment is just me a minute.
Oh, awesome. Alright, hang on a minute, guys. Alright, guys, you know what that time it is. You hear that music. It's time for Overwatch with Greg Dietz.
Okay, so there really wasn't a whole lot of Overwatch news this week. There's been a lot of complaints about Mercy in the PTR, and I think that the team is trying to adjust it. There's been a few complaints about D.Va's new macro missiles. They need to be on a long cooldown. It's a little overpowered.
Just let you know, Greg, you're kind of becoming a little robotic in a way, like your voice.
Every time the Overwatch comes, I turn into Bastion. I don't get it.
Oh man.
Also, I'd like to point out that the Overwatch minute is spelled Overwatch Wait.
What? Did I even spell it?
Oh yeah.
Did it?
I mean, I see it.
Okay.
I sound robotic still.
Yeah, you still sound kind of robotic. Disconnect your headphone and we'll try again. All right, guys, hang on. We gotta restart this. The powers that be are stopping us. It may be the fact that.
How about now?
Okay, sound a lot better. Okay, let's try it again.
All
Take
right.
2. All right. Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Hang on. I got this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode, another minute with Greg Dietz on Overwatch. All right,
we're good to go.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Okay. People are complaining about D.Va and Mercy in the PTR, saying that they are overpowered in various ways. But I think that is all spawning from not knowing how to defense against them, and I think there'll be some subtle adjustments, but right now they're still being worked on. That's why they are. Officially on the live servers on Tuesday came the inclusion of deathmatch and team deathmatch. They're incredibly fun. They're also like they're the same problem that I had with like the elimination. Where it's the of
Greg, you're robotic again. So hang on.
I think it's the music.
You think it's the music?
Oh yeah. Am I sound robotic now?
No. All right. So talk now.
It's totally the music. It's absolutely 100% music.
No, wait. Is it? Is it for my own doing? Okay. All right. Okay. So here's what we'll do. We'll take one more take. We're going for a third take this time around. So I'll play the intro. I'll play the intro music, but then I'll turn it down and turn it off when it's time. Okay. Sorry guys. We're experimenting here live on stream. So all right. So let's try this one more time. All right, guys. Welcome to another rendition of the Overwatch Minute with Great Deets. Okay.
All right. Oh, that's fun. Do you want me to start from the top?
Yeah, just start from the top.
All right. So there's been a lot of complaints in the forums about D.Va 3.0 and Mercy 2.0 being too overpowered, and that they. I don't doubt it for a second, Sandwich. Yeah, like that's one of the complaints is that that Mercy's definitely harder to visually track on with a controller. So they're doing some adjustments to both D.Va and Mercy, primarily Mercy's new ult and D.Va's micro missile situation. But I trust that they will fix that. I don't think we'll have another Bastion 2.0 situation, which if you remember, he was thrown into the live servers being extremely overpowered and had to be toned down. That being said, that's still in the PTR, so I'm not too concerned about that yet. The only other news that came out of Overwatch this week is the deathmatch and team deathmatch came to the live servers.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. I've already gotten both my gold boxes for each of those. Not gold, I'm sorry, loot boxes. And actually, as a matter of fact, the first time I played regular deathmatch, I tried out Roadhog and got my just ass handed to me. But I noticed that the top 3 players were Reaper, Genji. I was like, oh,
well, that makes
Reaper
sense.
has that ability. Reaper has the
sense.
ability to gain health with every shot. So then I went in with Reaper and got first place on my second match. Fun fact. Actually, I'll try to pull up the picture real quick because it's hilarious. But Team Deathmatch is a hoot and a half. I absolutely adore Team Deathmatch. It's super fun. Being able to spawn in at like very quickly, kind of Call of Duty-esque. Like you basically have 2 seconds between deaths.
Oh, okay.
And the matches last like 5 minutes tops. It's incredibly fun. I would recommend if you have a pretty well-oiled team, don't worry about a healer. Because when you're worrying about a healer, that's one player on your team that's not getting any kills. You want to have everybody trying to get kills.
Sick. All right.
So that's my suggestion to you in that category. But Team Deathmatch is actually a lot more fun than I was giving it credit for originally. But that being said, I want to show you the image. I gotta actually turn up the brightness on my phone.
Okay. I have an idea.
So this is.
Oh, go ahead.
This is after I won my first match. This is the picture that it came up with.
Hang on.
Oh.
Let it focus. Let it focus. Hang on. Put it back just a little bit. All right, stop right there. It is blurry. Hang on.
Yeah.
Does it focus on your camera on your Kinect or?
Let me turn down the brightness. I think that might have been the problem. Or my connect just sucks. Anyway, it's my
Yeah.
purple Reaper skin, and he's doing this.
Oh.
So I thought that was incredible. I forgot that was what I put on Reaper because I don't play Reaper.
Uh-huh.
I don't play assault characters at all. Mainly because I'm a designated support character or support player, or tank. That's my role when I play with my team. But yeah, it's very good. Obviously, there's characters who have an advantage over other characters, but like I see tons of Junkrats and Genjis, and neither of them can heal themselves. So it's really who you're best with. But
cool, awesome.
yeah, it's I absolutely adore it. And but yeah, there's nothing else worth talking about yet. I know that people who've gotten into the Junkertown map have found a bunch of Easter eggs and stuff kind of alluding to Junkrat or Australia's history within the Overwatch world. But there's one thing specifically that people have latched onto, and that's this one poster of the Queen, and there's already cosplay of her, naturally.
Wow.
So.
Wow. That is, I'm not surprised, but it's pretty impressive.
But that's it. That's it for this week's Overwatch Minute. I know it wasn't a half an hour like last week, but then again, last week we had 2 weeks worth to go through, and there was a ton last week regardless. So.
Yep. All right, guys. So that has been... Hang on a second. That has been your Overwatch Minute with Great Beats. Okay. There we go. I got it. So I got to fix that for next time. But with that pretty much ends our show. Let me officially make that a thing. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. So yeah, we come to the end of the show, guys. Thank you guys for watching. You stuck around. Also, before I forget, let me get this out of the way. Thank you for the host, Jason and InSubber New 76, which it's one of our Heat buddies, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, he followed. I think a Summoner or Apocalypse or Josh. He found Heat through the Mega Manathon.
Oh, nice.
And then had just continued following the channel, and now he's like a regular over there.
Sweet. Awesome.
And then I was like, I do a podcast. Come watch.
Awesome. So shout outs to those guys, and also thanks for the new follow, Clever Fox Zero. So thank you for the follow and your viewership. So before we end the show, Gray, where can they find you on the internet?
You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram under ChubRockGeek. I probably post more on Twitter than anything else, and then never post on Facebook because I'm terrible at using Facebook regardless. But I need to actually use Instagram a little bit more, just so people can be like, I like your photo. Also, I'm going to follow your stuff. Anyway, I stream on twitch.tv/halfemptyetank or heet.tv every Saturday. This Saturday, obviously, I'll be playing some Destiny 2. I don't know if I'll be doing story, because by the time Saturday rolls around, I'll probably have the story done, so I'll probably just doing strikes and other things to level up or get my whatever. I'll be playing it. And I have reviews up on the website that Anthony will talk about later, or in a moment. Currently, my newest review is about Sonic Mania. Spoiler alert, I loved it. So definitely go read about that and check it out. I actually have a new friend who's editing all of my writing, which is fantastic because I need that so badly. And he's been wonderful about it. I'm going to start tagging his name on my work. Mainly because I wasn't sure if he was still allowed to continue doing it. But Anthony was like, yes, do it. So Anthony's like, it's messed up if you don't. I'm like, great, good conversation, doing it. But yeah. Hold on, time out. I'm sorry. The raid and trials go live the week following the Destiny 2 launch. Hot diggity damn.
That's gonna be yeah. That's.
I thought the raid would come out a month after.
I guess
not a week.
Nope. Bungie's making again. They're making the things work this time around. So.
I'm really excited for this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely go follow me on that stuff. And I always post on Twitter when I'm going to do stuff on the internets or when anything's new. So that's where you want to follow is my Twitter mainly.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter as well at Defective Naruto. You can follow the work that we do at MissionStartPodcast.com. Just a few other things on my end. The preview or my thoughts on the Destiny 2 beta will be up by tomorrow, so definitely be on the lookout. It'll be up on YouTube. It'll also be, shoutcasted on Twitch, on Facebook, and on Twitter. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I have a review I'm working on right now. I got a game review for the game Luna and what was it? It was Luna and something. I'm pretty bad at remembering this, but yeah, I have a game review I am working on. And on top of that, I just got back from Tech Anime yesterday, where I recorded the entire event of Cosplay Wrestling Federation's Blackout event yesterday. And I'm going to be busy probably working on that for next week or two. So I got some stuff on my plate for the most part. And also, Monday Night Blockbuster is back starting tomorrow at 7 p.m. on this Twitch channel. I'll have the stream up by 6 for the pre-game show leading up to the event. But yeah, there's a lot of things happening right now. Not only on here, but life itself. Because I got one other thing might be happening that, depending on how it happens in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I may be moving. But we'll see. But aside from that, if you enjoy this show, give me a second here so I switch slides. If you enjoy this show, be sure to follow us on iTunes and Stitcher. Actually, I have a command for that. Give me a second here so I do it. Waha, there you go. You can right there. You can subscribe to our podcast. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. No wait, is that the right one? Yes. Yes. No. Yes. Wait, I better double check. Hang on. Crap. I messed up on it. Anyways, yeah.
Good job. Good job, Anthony. No, I'm joking.
Basically, we're on iTunes and Stitcher, so look it up. It's Mission Start Podcast. We upload these audio versions every Tuesday, so definitely check it out. And also, it's on our website in the podcast section, so you can check it out there as well. You can also follow us on here on Twitch as well. I'm totally blanking right now. If you enjoy our conversations about conventions we've been to, conventions we critique or kind of things we want to cover, check out the Conover, which is on iTunes and Stitcher, as well as on our website in the podcast section. And we'll have one new up soonish. I forgot which convention it was, but we'll have one up, and when we do, we'll announce it on our social media feed. Last but not least, we have our Rolling 20s podcast, which is a smorgasbord of comics, games, anime, entertainment, movies, just everything in one podcast. This is hosted by Jeremy Wilson, which he works for the site, and he also is it has an alter ego called Super Mario to the CWF. He hosts a podcast on our website, which is also on iTunes and Stitcher, as well as on our podcast section of our website. It's up usually every Friday. So definitely check that out when you can. Also, I forgot to mention, and I keep saying it, we have a movie podcast. We haven't done it in a while. We'll have one up. We'll do one soonish, depending on what movie we're going to go see. But we do have a movie podcast called Down in Front. There's only 5 episodes right now, but if you want to check it out, the last one we just did was Spider-Man Homecoming. It's on iTunes and Stitcher right now, so you can go check out what we thought about Spider-Man Homecoming. Go check it out. We also did Logan. We also did Power Rangers and other movies as well. So, yeah, we do a ton of things. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it. So, again, thank you guys for coming by and watching. Anybody who followed or lurked in the chat, thanks so much. Appreciated. We are live every Sunday night at 8 p.m. at this time with your weekly video game news podcast. So, with that being said, thank you guys. We'll see you guys next time.
I need to go buy some Rockstar.